Let's take a look at this diagram. And this diagram is very crude, not to scale, and it's not going to work perfectly, but it at least will allow me to explain at least a setup for what I'm going to be trying to show. And to me, guys, there is nothing that is going to show the Earth and its shape more than this. And let's get into this and see what it shows us. All right, so we have the sun that is rising in the east, and we have a pole stuck on the ground, and this is just a shadow. Now the shadow should be on the ground, but it's just not here, so sorry about that. But let's just see what we should observe as the sun moves. So as the sun moves, as you can see, the shadow gets shorter and shorter and shorter on that side. When the sun becomes more perpendicular to the stick, the east-west shadow disappears. We're going to look at a north-south projection here in a second from an elevation, and that's where everything's going to shine here. As the sun gets on the other side, you can see the shadow length starts to come back. See that? And it gets longest. It actually should be longest right here. Where is it? Right there. Because that's the most parallel, right, in their model that there is. Right there. And as the sun goes down, now if this stick could see the sun, still see the sun after it goes down, watch what happens to the shadow length. It should start to shrink. Why? Because the sun is moving towards opposition, parallel to the, opposition is probably not the best word, but to the opposite side of where it was before, and perpendicular just on the other side. So this shadow length would shorten as, you know, if you could see through the Earth, this shadow length would shorten as it became 12 hours later, and then it would lengthen again on this side as it began to come to sunrise. All right, I think everybody understands that, but I don't think people really get the fact that right here, the shadow length should be the most in their model. It's after this, the shadow length, as it gets lower in the sky, would have to shorten because it's moving towards the other parallel part. All right, let's take this up a level. Let's say now we're at 3,000 feet. If we were to look now, let's say at this, and the shadow projected onto something as such, it would be pointing slightly down, right? We all know this. And as the sun rises, remember we're at 3,000 feet now. And this is, now imagine the sun is behind, you know, it's to the south of this stick right here. So we're seeing the projection to the north of the shadow. And it would come down like this, and then it would go on the other side. Like I said, it's not perfect, my animation, but as you can see, once we get past parallel, that line should go up. And especially if we're at 3,000 feet and we're seeing a second, third, or actually here we should be seeing our 30th sunset after the people on the surface. The shadow should be cast upward, and it should be shorter than it was when we had this right here, a 45-degree sun angle. So let me know what you guys think of this. I don't think anybody's actually ever thought this through before, but the shadow actually should shrink as it gets more and more towards the other side. You see let's go back to the first one. We all know that, now let's say we're at Ecuador and the sun's directly overhead. So there's no shadow now. And the longest it should be is whenever it is about that position. Once it gets below parallel, that shadow should shrink. Right? It has to. So I just want people to see this, and we'll talk more about this as this gets developed.